Hey, what up, Bubs? I'm Mike Rainey from Dad Meat Podcast, and this is Sober Boners, which is an offshoot of Dad Meat Podcast. And with Sober Boners, my goal is to release a video now once every couple of weeks to kind of just detail what has helped me through sobriety. I've been sober for 3.5 years, and I wanted to detail what has helped me in the hopes that it might help somebody else. So if you're struggling with addiction, alcoholism, you're in the right fucking place because, I lived through that shit. Hopefully I'm done with it and I'm enjoying moving on with my life when it seemed like for a long time it didn't seem like that was ever going to be possible. So, today I want to talk about one of the biggest detriments associated with alcoholism and addiction, which is wasted time. If you're active in a fucking, addiction to any kind of fucking substance, whether it's drugs or alcohol, you know what the fuck I'm talking about with wasted time because it seems like you're stuck in an endless loop where you're just drained by how it feels as though your time doesn't belong to you because you're either actively pursuing obtaining these substances, you're actively engaged in consuming these substances, you're actively engaged in recovering from these substances. It just never fucking ends. When you're fucked up on drugs and alcohol, it's your time does not belong to you. It belongs to these substances that you're ingesting. Um, so I've been sober for 3.5 years, and one of the biggest benefits that became apparent pretty early on was that my time became mine again. I had unlimited amounts of energy pretty early on. Within a few weeks of just getting rid of all the shit that I was doing, which for me was alcohol, painkillers, and cocaine. They were just fucking thorns in my side. I could go, months without consuming one or the other, but I just feel like I was always substituting one and be like, all right, well, I can fucking do this now. And a night of doing that would lead to a fucking weekend, would lead to a fucking week, would lead to multiple weeks, would lead to fucking months. And it was just an endless cycle of just being fucked up and feeling as though I was never going to get out. And I just constantly felt like a slave to these substances. But 3.5 years ago, when I decided to get sober, one of the earliest benefits was the realization that my time now belonged to me, which can feel like a pretty heavy burden, but at the same time, it's very liberating. When you have a ton of time on your hands, you're going to feel like you have way too much time to think, which ultimately ends up being a good thing. At first, you're going to get fucking bombarded with all the fucking shit that you've been pushing off, with the shit that you've been putting in your body for however long you've been putting it in there. It's going to seem overwhelming. So that's where the importance of a support system comes in. And I think getting around people who could provide that support system, reading shit that help fortify that support system, consuming videos, hopefully like this, that help fortify that support system for people just trying to get better and trying to leave that shit behind. That shit is super important because you're going to need that through whether you're at fucking day one or day fucking 10,000. You need shit in your life to help keep you moving in the right direction. And at the very least, to help remind you that you're doing the right thing and that there's always room for improvement. So, getting back to the concept of wasted time, it doesn't, it's not just relative to like ingestion of substances. It's like wasted time when you're active in addiction is also relative to your thought processes. Because think about, when you're fucked up on shit, how much time goes into thinking about those substances? It's anxiety about, you know, getting the shit, fucking depression about after you've fucking ingested this shit. It just doesn't fucking stop. So not only are your actions wasting time, but your thoughts are wasting time too, because there's very little time, if any, that's focused upon self improvement. And when you finally get your shit figured out, you're going to have that time. And at that point, when you start to put these support systems in place and start to add different elements picked from here and there, you're going to start to value your time more. And a big thing that I recommend in regards to helping you structure your days so that you do value your time is setting goals. Um, my co-host from Dad and Me, Tim Butterly, my fucking favorite person in the world. He and I sat down with a couple of other guys at the end of last year to work on our goals for the year. It was very awkward. It was a very vulnerable situation because even though I had been friends with these guys for years, there's a lot of shit that you just won't tell friends. Like you won't open up about, shit that like you really worry about or shit that you really want out of life. A lot of times it's just you're relegated to surface level shit because you don't want to seem like corny, like you just feel embarrassed almost about wanting better things out of life. But being able to sit down and vocalize those goals, and not only vocalizing them, but vocalizing them in front of other people. So there's that extra layer of accountability, which goes a long way. And if you've got good people in your life, they're going to support that. Even if they don't, if they're not into the same shit that you're talking about and not into whatever your goals might be, if the good people in your life, if they're really good for you, they'll recognize that it's something that you're using to push yourself forward. They'll support that. They'll offer to help wherever they can. And that's where you realize that, you got a good friend. Because that's a big thing about wasting time too, is that you got a million motherfuckers around you who will drop everything to come get fucked up with you. But tell these same motherfuckers you need help moving. Watch what the fuck happens. Unless that the shit that you do together is there, they're not going to show up to help you move. They're not going to show up to do anything for you but to get fucked up with you. So, you're setting goals to fucking do these things to set yourself on the right path. Set yourself, you know, align your goals with what it is that you value in life or what it is that you want to achieve out of life. Because a lot of times, like when you're just coming out of the fucking ashes of getting fucked up for so long, you don't even know who the fuck you are. Um, you just know that you're somebody that gets fucked up all the time. Your self-esteem's fucking shot. You feel like you don't have anything going for you, regardless of like the positives that are in your life. You feel as though, you're bottom of the barrel. But that couldn't be further from the truth. If you're actively taking steps to change your life and improve yourself, you're ultimately not only going to improve your life, but you're going to improve the lives of everyone around you, everyone that cares about you, everyone that looks up to you. So just you even making mistakes along the way to improve yourself, people are going to recognize that. And deep down, you'll recognize that too. And you're going to develop respect for yourself too. So in setting goals that act in accordance with whatever it is that you value, you're by the nature of doing that, you're going to start valuing your time more. Um, I would say like when I was getting fucked up, there would be unlimited fucking hours just to get fucked up. It never fucking ended. I could spend fucking 12 hours straight sitting on a fucking bar stool watching fucking football games and not think anything of it. And when the time came for closing time, feel as though it had been fucking 20 minutes. It never ended. It always went fast. Um, but when I didn't have that shit to rely upon anymore, it felt as though like, all right, well, I got to fucking do something with my time because time, it's fucking dragging on here unless I decide to do something. And that's one of the gifts of all this shit is that you have time to think about what it is that you really want. Take your time back, make it yours, and to do whatever the fuck you want to do with your life. You want to fucking paint, go to a fucking art class and like they pay homeless people to come in naked and you could paint fucking huge fucking homeless dongs if you want to. That's another benefit of sobriety. Like you get to not be the person needing fucking the $20 to have your fucking dong painted by an entire class. Be the one that's painting the dongs. Don't be the one that's having your dong painted. That's a huge fucking benefit of this shit. Anything that you're fucking interested in, you now have fucking time to do. You have time to be around other people, which is another huge fucking benefit of getting your shit together and getting sober. Is because when you're active in addiction, regardless of how much you want to fucking say that you take care of your shit, you're not taking care of your shit. Because there's so many fucking hours that pass when people need you and you're not there because you're just dead set. You have your fucking horse blinders on, getting fucked up. Regardless of whether or not you pay all the fucking bills are paid, everybody's got new shit on. You're not there because time is our most valuable commodity. And that's probably the greatest realization that's come to me in my 3.5 years sober is that time is all that anybody has. You could have everything, but if you don't have time to dedicate to yourself and to the people that care about you, what is it all for? So once you start making the attempts to get your shit straightened out, start basing your actions and your thoughts in alignment with what you value in life, you're going to see shit start to add up and you're going to start to feel fulfillment in life. Personally, it probably took me to close the end of like the second year of sobriety where I started to feel like shit, I really am different now. I mean, there were natural goals where like, all right, the first week you physically feel better because you don't have this shit in your body. A few weeks go by, a few months go by. It's like, oh shit, this does feel cool that I'm not doing this, but also along the way, there's times where you're like, your mind's not out of the fucking woods yet. And you're thinking like, I kind of want to get fucked up. Should I do it? And there's always like triggers that are going to come about. But if you avoid them, you're going to gradually start to see shit line up because you now have the time and awareness to notice these things. Your time now belongs to you. So all these beautiful things that could fucking happen to you and happen for you are going to become apparent. Now, with that fucking Spider-Man's fucking uncle or grandpop says, it comes great responsibility because it's like you have this time, you have these realizations, but what are you going to do with it? That's where you start to build self-esteem, and that's where you really start to build your own life. It's like, all right, I got fucking 8 hours to myself today. What am I going to do? You have all the time in the world to get fucked up if you wanted to, but what if you chose to just learn about something? What if you chose to spend it thinking or talking with somebody other than yourself, doing shit for other people, which is one of the most fulfilling aspects of sobriety. Just do shit for other people. You can be there for somebody else, especially when they don't expect it. You become a more aware, develop a higher sense of empathy. Whereas like you're getting fucked up, it's just like it's like, yeah, I might catch you fucking, yeah, here's $10 or something like that. You might catch somebody like that, but when you have the time to start not only being aware of your own needs, which you're going to be hyper aware of, because you no longer have those safeguards in place that are numbing all that shit out. You're also going to be aware of what other people are going through. So you get to be something that other people may need, which is another great aspect of just fucking getting your shit together and leaving that shit in the dust. Is you get to be for other people what you might not have had, which led you to these substances to begin with. So you're going to have time for that shit. And also too, when you start to value your time, even if you just get, if there's going to be a lot of days where you're just consumed by responsibilities, and it's good problems to have. Like if you're fucking working all day, you got school, you're dedicating yourself, you got shit that you got to take the kids to fucking practice and shit like that. You got to take your wife out. Those are really good problems to have, and you have to contextualize them as such, because it's like, there's plenty of times where you weren't available to them. You weren't available to fucking be at work for fucking 10, 12 hours a day. You weren't available to your spouse. You weren't available to your kids. How many fucking practices, did you miss fucked up? How many practices did you go to fucked up? Because I know I've been to fucking kids' practices fucked up. That shit is fucked up. And I know I wasn't the only one fucked up there. So that's even more fucked up. So when you have all these responsibilities lined up, it's like, yeah, you start to value the fact that you can be there not only physically, but you can be there mentally as well. But along with those responsibilities is a lot of times you're not going to have a lot of free time. So when you start valuing your time and you start acting and thinking in accordance with valuing time, even if you just have an hour to yourself at the end of the day, you can make the most of that hour. Take time to just do something for yourself, because you have to start being selfish too with your time. I remember a big part of what would fuck me up, and this wasn't anybody else's fault because I made the decision to do these things, but I could easily get roped into somebody saying, "Hey, I need you to help me with this," and then the next thing you know, I could help them with something. It could be something as simple as moving a fucking couch, and then I'm MIA for the next day and a half because I'm out getting fucked up with them. So you could avoid that shit, and then also too, it's taking the time to just really evaluate what it is that you're doing. It's a trial and error process, because one of the biggest traps when you first get sober, and even like years in the sobriety, is feeling as though you didn't get enough done. Once you start doing shit that you want to do and doing shit that you value and doing shit that really adds value to other people's lives, there's always going to be things at the end of the day where you feel as though like, all right, I didn't fucking, I didn't, let me turn this fucking shit off. This is getting annoying. I'm sorry. But there's going to be so many times where you're just like, oh, fuck, it's 10 o'clock at night. I worked all day. I did all this shit and I didn't get done. I want to do this, and that. It's fine. Let it go. Fucking do it tomorrow, or fucking do it some other time, or don't fucking do it at all. You'll address the shit that really needs to get done. There's going to be a million things. Your brain's always going to be playing tricks on you that, you know, you didn't have enough time to do this or you didn't have time to do that. Like you have time. It's all you fucking have. Prioritize shit and just know that if you didn't get all the shit you wanted done today, tomorrow you'll wake up early. It's nice to be able to wake up rather than to just come to and have days be continuations of the previous day. That's the real fucking gift in this shit, is that your time becomes yours. And I can't reiterate that enough, because it really is a fucking gift. When you make the effort to you're putting in the time to get more time to yourself. You're putting in the time, you're putting in it's like making a fucking down payment on something. It's like, all right, I might not have this, I might not need the shit now, but I'm going to put in the investment in myself to allow myself to be at a higher level somewhere down the road, to be at a high enough level somewhere down the road as to where, like, I can be an inspiration to somebody, or I can be something that I didn't have further down the road. So right now I'm going to put in the time to really get my shit together and point myself in the right direction. And there is going to be a lot of trial and error. You're going to realize that through reflection, it's important to reflect upon what you're doing with your time. And I, sit down, whether it's every day, at the end of every week, or just periodically, to say, like, all right, what am I giving my time to? And if you write the shit down and you detail it, like, you're going to see that no matter how busy you think you are, you're still probably wasting a lot of time. There's always ways to trim the fat. And again, that's another gift, is that that's another opportunity for improvement. And you're going to see these shit continuously, and this kind of shit is going to pop up more often and more often. And the payoff is going to be constant, in that you always have room for improvement. It can feel overwhelming if you let it, but don't. You really have to be patient with yourself. You really have to view yourself, almost, there's sometimes where, like, I'll view myself as like a child version of myself. Like, if I feel like I'm being too critical, or I'm being, just being too demanding of myself, like, there's going to be times where I'll literally have to picture myself as a child to get myself to chill the fuck out and feel as though, like, all right, if I'm in the presence of this person, I need to act this way right now. And by having that reminder and being able to exhibit that patience, I'm able to better to get a get a better grip on what's happening in my life, and just realize, okay, if I didn't get this fucking done now, it's not the end of the fucking world. I'll get to it later. I'll get to it tomorrow, whenever. It's not the end of the fucking world. But I promise you that if you start giving up the shit that's been fucking you up, if you're watching this video, it's like, odds are you probably had something in your life that's fucked you up at some point. And if it's still fucking you up, just, try some of the things that are mentioned here, or anywhere else that you fucking find, on YouTube, or fucking books, or anything like that, any podcast where it's just like people are just offering what they've learned along the way. Because I feel like, that's what all this shit is for. It's like, we're making all these mistakes, and we can get consumed by the mistakes and lead unfulfilling, just shit lives. Or you could use the opportunity that you have of being the gift of fucking being alive and being able to be here, and use it to fucking make something of your life. You don't have to fucking be miserable, man. And that's what all this shit leads to. It's just like fucking fucking hard drugs and fucking alcohol. This shit never ends. It's just, you're just numbing shit that you didn't address, or that you're afraid to address. But I promise you, when you leave that shit behind, you're strong enough to handle whatever it is that's going to come your way. And, but it's up to you, because, most of the world isn't going to give a fuck about you, whether you get sober or don't get sober. Most of the world couldn't fucking care less. But if you're lucky, you'll have at least somebody or a few people that care about you enough to help you along with your sobriety. Or even if you don't have any, a lot of cases you burn bridges, or, you just might not have the benefit of having people in your corner. It's important to be your own biggest advocate. And I promise you, if you reach out to me, I'll get back to you, and I'm in your corner. And if you start to live in accordance with, leading a positive life, and just engaging in positivity, good shit's going to follow, and you're going to attract people into your life that are going to be congruent with what your values are. Whatever you determine to be valuable, you're going to attract those kind of people into your life. And I promise you, fucking addiction is fucking isolating. It doesn't matter how many motherfuckers you have around you. It's fucking isolating. But the more that you engage in getting your shit straightened out, the more you're going to attract like-minded people, like-minded in a good sense, not like hope, not like, all right, we're going to fucking drink Kool-Aid and fucking kill ourselves kind of like-minded people, like good people that are going to push you towards your goals. And when you see them doing that, you're going to want to do the same thing for them. And I promise you that is such a fulfilling aspect, is to be able to be an asset for somebody. But you can only really be an asset for somebody by being your own biggest advocate. So if that means like, all right, be something as simple as like, all right, I need to fucking hydrate. Like, so I'm going to go get myself some fucking water right now, to an extreme degree with like, all right, I need to fucking take a day off here to fucking sit, to meditate, to write in my journal, to do some fucking yoga, get some exercise, because I need to take care of myself today. Like, you really have to be selfish with your time in order to eventually be generous with your time. So be very patient with yourself when you start doing this. And even not just starting, but all throughout the process of being sober, like, be patient with yourself. Really get in the habit of developing positive forms of selfishness, which for me is just, like I mentioned, taking the time to do all that shit, which is it's like recharging your batteries. You're fucking plugging your fucking phone in every night because you're going to need to use it the next day. You need to fucking plug yourself in so that you can be available you can be the best version of yourself, and that you can be available to the people that need you. Um, so, there's so many good aspects that come along with starting to value your time. And valuing your time is going to go a long way in helping to weed out a lot of the people that just aren't working to your benefit. Say for example, like, you're going to start to see people might even get offended that like you're taking time to do shit for yourself. Anybody that's offended that you're taking time to do something for yourself is somebody that's not worth having around. If you start taking, I'm telling you, take track of what it is, that what you do with your time. Fucking at the end of the day, go through what you did during the day. It's like, all right, fucking 10:30 a.m. I'm driving with fucking Nunzio to go buy fucking pills. All right. Fucking noon. I'm at the fucking pawn shop with Nunzio, who just stole his fucking nephew's PS fucking 4. All right. 7:30 p.m. We're staring at Nunzio's grandmother's fucking home window, waiting for this bitch to fall asleep during Wheel of Fortune so we can break in the house and break into her fucking medicine cabinet. None, being Italian is the least of Nunzio's worries at that point. He is not a good motherfucker to be around. However, if you start taking fucking stock, and it's like, all right, at fucking noon, I met with Nunzio at a diner to fucking talk about feelings. It's like, all right, that's good. It's like, all right, fucking 4 o'clock, me and Nunzio went and played fucking tennis. It's like, all right, that's cool. Fucking 7 o'clock, me and Nunzio went to a fucking AA meeting or something. It's just like, yeah, Nunzio is probably a good motherfucker to be around. So take stock of all the people in your life too. All the write down what your predominant thoughts are during the day. Write down what your actions are during the day. Write down behaviors. Write down the people you're around and the way that they make you feel. And then you're eventually going to whittle that down to start to make better use of your time. And I promise you, like, when you have all this time and you actively engage in trying to better your life, even the process of trying to better yourself is inevitably going to lead to you becoming a better version of yourself than you could ever imagine. So, long story short, guys, just fucking start to value your time. Leave behind all that shit. Like, I promise you, fucking make the leap. It's fucking scary to leave all these crutches in the dust, but I promise you, it's fucking worth it. If I can get my shit together, anybody fucking can. I felt fucking utterly fucking hopeless at times, no matter what it was that I was addicted to, whether at the lowest points in fucking alcoholism, at the lowest points of coke addiction, at the lowest points of fucking pill addiction. I was able to fucking come out of that, one, by making the decision that I needed to make myself better, and two, I was very fortunate to meet people along the way who were very patient with me, who were willing to guide me through the points that I didn't know that I could get through, and to provide guidance to me when I really needed it the most. So I feel obligated to do this kind of shit because I've had those people in my life, and I've come out the other side of the worst of the worst. And I just feel obligated to share these kind of messages. And I just want to let you know that if you're struggling with that shit right now, it can end right now if you wanted to. And like I mentioned, hit me up anytime if you need anything, if you have questions about anything, if you just need to talk in like an email or something like that, get something off your chest. It will stay between you and I. Um, you can hit me up on, fucking Twitter. I'm Mike Rainey 82. You can go if you want to sign up for the Dad Me Patreon. It's $1, at least $1 a month. If you want to give more, that fucking rules. If not, that's cool too. We answer all the message on the Patreon. Fucking however you want to get in contact with me, just hit me up, and I promise you, I promise you, I'll always get back to you, and I'll always have time to speak with you if you got some serious shit going on. Because you don't have to fucking suffer with this shit. I promise you, it's a million times better when you leave this shit in the dust. And when you start valuing your time, dude, you're not gonna know what the fuck to do with yourself. But I mean that in the best way possible. So I love you, Bubs, and please know that you're more powerful than you can ever fucking imagine. And if you need help getting past this, you can do it. I'll help guide you in the right direction. Ask other, find other resources. Anything that seems like it could help lead you to the desired result that you want. I think if you engage in that kind of shit enough, you're going to find what you want and you're going to have the life that you want. But just give it a shot and really just, there's nothing to be afraid of, man. It can only get better than what it is right now if you're fucked up. But all right, I love you, Bubs, and I hope to see you soon.